Okay, so I'm gonna start this Bible series just for introduction. It's gonna be 8-part series. This is sort of like a precursor to that 8-part series. First thing we might start talking about is probably the Beatitudes. Uh, Going with that, let the weak say I am strong, let the poor say I am rich. You might have heard that from somewhere. So we'll start with the Beatitudes, and yeah, we'll go on from there. So this is an introduction to what I like to call the Bible study series. So mainly we understand the Bible as deriving first from looking at the Torah, which evolves into the Tanakh, sort of like we're talking about the law. So the first 5 books of the law, and then spreading out to the prophets and to other stories as well. But also we're looking at the New Testament as well. So the New Testament is for Christianity, sort of the branching out of the religion is the Judaism is the start, and then you say Christianity is the finish as well. Um, so there are differences there. Why we still have Jews or why we still have Christians. I mean, basically why the Old Testament and the New Testament are the way they are, and you're just explaining how some parts of the Bible, just the basics of the belief systems, and going more into what it all means. I guess I like to always just to say that there's always a meaning to everything, but also the Word of God and the power of the Word of God, and believing fully in the Word and how that's more powerful than really anything you could believe in. But overall, you're going to find some, um, what can I say, uh, differences. You're going to find differences. I'll use a simpler word. The differences between the Old Testament and the New Testament are as follows. Um, Old Testament, of course, is ritual sacrifice and obedience to God wholeheartedly, of course. And the New Testament is also about obedience and ritual sacrifice. I just said the word ritual sacrifice as the thing because you only thing that brings a new law or New Testament is the blood. So all the blood you see, all the animals you see being sacrificed, that is also symbolic of Jesus Christ's blood and that sacrifice for the New Testament. So that's how it evolves there. Without that, there is no new law, no New Testament without the atonement of sin. Uh, that is the covenant that God makes with His people. Well, the first covenant, of course, with Father Abraham, and then these agreements again. You're looking now at the Bible as something where you can say it is something to relate to your life, even if you don't feel that way about it. Um, there's parts of the word you might not even know affect you every day, and that's what we've been talking about earlier with the previous series. But for people new to the channel, or new to the Facebook page or wherever you're listening to this too, is to say that in a sense there's power in what you do not see. There's a power in the faith that you have. There's power in the love that you have. There's power in hope, in endurance. Endurance we call, in equation to the Bible, we say endurance is a biblical suffering. It's the long suffering, the endurance, the ability to endure. Some might equate suffering with acceptance, but it's more of an endurance. So most of what you're going to read in the New Testament and the Old Testament, I want you to be able to endure. Just reading it, because reading it is a tough read, especially the first 5 books. The law is tough, and it's very, very hard. So think of the atonement basically is spread out through all of the Bible, not just the New Testament, but also the Old Testament, but in a simpler context of animals being sacrificed and how that relates to your life, and sort of the way that the law had affected people's lives day to day, aspects of their nature, of course, as well as aspects of between each other, how they would stone each other or crucify each other. I mean, basically, different regions have the effective law. We have laws today, death penalties, things like that. That's the nature of humans, but also an order from the Elohim as well. There's laws. So look at it as contextually these events happening all at once. It's like a collision. It's like um, an event where you can look over time and say it branches out into places that you're familiar with and places that you're unfamiliar with. It is connecting us all in one. Basically, that's the law. So he's saying, why are Muslims committed their law, Jews committed their law, Hindus they have laws, or something, or this and that, or all of these rituals, or what does this mean? Why do people have rituals and things like that? I mean, disrespect, no disrespect, respect or no respect is the fact that they were ordered to do so by a higher power, and some of those higher powers, again, they don't know who they pray to. Some of them do. Some of them do know who they pray to. In any case, all the religions need to be checked out, just to say that what you're signing up for, what are you agreeing to do, what are you agreeing not to do. So I wouldn't force you into a particular path. I chose the Christian path, but of course which leads to the Jewish path in a certain sense, but also depending on your identity, your physical, spiritual uh, cause in this realm is the fact that you're called to do great things, and it's under different avenues, different places, and different loyalties, of course. But you're loyal to your Creator in most cases, and in some cases you're loyal to, the rules over you uh, in those places. But think about your freedom, your spiritual advancement is something where you can say that the word will empower you to be an individual serving your God, and that's more powerful. And in fact, just to let you know, like, you know the context of all we read is the if he be for you, then who can be against you? If God can be for you, who can be against you? So that's the event where you're saying, if God is for you, like, there's really nothing that can stand against you. There's nothing that can actively stand against you and stand. So that's why it's important for everybody, of course, you know, that we all understand in this space and time, is the fact that there's no necessity to always, feel that this is all the information there is, but also the fact that there are certain things, certain avenues where we say we had access to certain, technologies that people thousands of years ago didn't, and sort of their error in ignorance, you're saying, had led them to worship gods and things like that, or whatever, because it was a primitive nature. But you must understand that this technology, we're the very technology created by the Elohim. So that's the thing where you're gonna branch into saying you're part of a creation too, as much as a phone is, or to relative to something else, but also biologically in nature is more complex than even the technological nature of something that can be built. So it takes place in the spaces of the mind, in which matter and space meet, and sort of the in between of those realms. And that's where you're going to look at uh, other places as well, but the context of active words, speaking words, and how it's going out in your existence, and many other things. But just to keep it simple, the series is going to be about the principles of the word, and sort of the things that are the basic know to, know how. So the endurance is one thing, the faith is another thing, the love is another thing, hope is another thing, um, many other things. But we're gonna start on those basics. So I'm gonna start with the Beatitudes, touching more on identity and other things of that nature. So, everyone, peace. See you soon. I'll come in. So I'll see you tomorrow.